The first step to making polymer clay beads is to make sure you've got a hole through your beads so you can make sure that jewelry wire can actually go through the bead. So grabbing a needle tool, poke a hole right through the bead. I find that it comes out really nicely if you just take that needle tool and go nice and swiftly through the bead. You want to do this with 3 different beads. These 3 beads here will make the connector bead. Now you want to grab your needle tool and make a small indentation at the top of that bead, not all the way right through, because we're going to fill that little hole we just made with translucent liquid Sculpey. And as you can see, I've done this both at the top and the bottom of my bead. Now I'm going to place this particular bead right onto my baking tray. Then I'm grabbing the top bead of the connector bead and attaching it with TLS onto that middle bead there, and doing the same with the bottom bead. Now here's our 3-in-1 connector bead. You want to be quite gentle as you want to remain the shape of the bead. As you can see in this image here, the one on the left was done by hand without TLS, whereas the one on the right was done with TLS. There's a great difference. Now you want to reinforce your hole through your bead, grab your needle tool and make sure that whilst you were playing with your beads that the holes hadn't disappeared. So now that you've gone ahead and made your connector beads, it's time to get beading. So let's go ahead and see what we need to do in order to get our beaded headband together. So here's the things that we'll need for the process. Tool-wise, you need a pair of sharp scissors and a crimping tool, as well as tiger tail wire. You'll need 4 crimping beads and 2 rings. In comparison to my pointer finger, here's the size. Now beads. Basically, for one headband, you'll need 7 sets of this arrangement here, or any sort of similar arrangement. Basically, in an arrangement, what is essential to have is 1 3-in-1 connector bead. That's the one all the way over on the left. And in total, you will need 3 rows of 8 beads each in each row. And basically, in this arrangement, there are 8 different types of beads, as according to my Polymer Clay Bullseye Cane tutorial. And each bead features in the arrangement 3 times. As you can pick out here, if you want to pause the video, you can see each bead features 3 times. So basically, doing this before beading makes the process more organized. Note that you'll also need an extra connector bead. Now the rule of thumb of how much tiger tail wire you need is wrapping around your head 4 times. Now let's get beading. Taking 2 crimp beads, thread it onto your wire. Then thread your ring onto your wire. Then make a loop around your ring and push the end of the tiger tail wire through the 2 crimp beads again to make a loop as shown in the video. The next thing you'll want to do is grab your first connector bead, then start threading on your Polymer Clay bullseye beads. Here I'm putting on the first row of one of my sets that I arranged previously. Now what you'll need to do for the first set is you'll need to take the excess wire and tuck it away into the first set of these Polymer Clay beads. This is just to secure the end of the wire. As you can see, it creates a double thread. Once you've done this, you can go ahead and grab your second connector bead and start threading on your second set of beads. It's as simple as that. As you can see here, what I'm doing from my arranged sets is I'm just grabbing the first row of beads from each set. Once you've done this, you'll have created the first row of the entire headband. And at the end, you'll need to do the process that we did at the beginning. So grab 2 crimp beads, thread it on, grab a ring, thread that on, make a loop around the ring, and then go back through the 2 crimp beads again. Pulling tightly to create a nice, neat loop so that it looks like the other side. What you want to do now is to start the second row. So, grab your wire and push through the second bead in the last or first, depending how you see it, connector bead. Then go ahead and do the beading process just like we did for the first row. Remember that between each connector bead, there will be 7 single separated beads. You'll want to keep count of this because if you make a mistake, you'll have to take your wire out and go all the way back, which is absolutely terrible. Trust me on that one. Now we're reaching the end of our second row here, and we've reached the beginning of where we first started. So what you'll need to do is go through your 2 crimp beads, then make a loop around your ring, and then go back through your 2 crimp beads again. You'll need to be patient at this time as the crimp beads will be now full of wires, so it may take some time and some accuracy to get that wire through the crimp beads. Then we want to start our third row. So all you have to do, just like last time, is push your wire through the connector bead, but this time through the third section of it. So this is what the end of your headband should look like right now. Once again, once you've done this, grab your last row of beads from each set and push it through the wire, placing 7 beads, then going through the next connect, placing 7 separate beads again, then going through the next connect and doing this until you get to the end of the headband. Ta-da! After a while, you'll get there. Now to finish off our headband, what we want to do is to do the crimp bead loop-de-loop process just like we did in the beginning. So taking your end of the tiger tail wire, push it through the 2 crimp beads, as well as making a loop around the ring. Once again, you want to push the wire back through the 2 crimp beads. Now what do you do with your excess wire? Well, we don't want to have too much excess wire. You probably only need about 5 to 8 centimeters of excess wire. So once your headband is looking like this, grab your sharp wire scissors or cutters and cut off any excess so that you only have about 8 centimeters remaining. Then, like in the beginning, you want to push this excess wire away into the final row of the headband so that we have some leeway. Ta-da! So now your headband looks perfect like this. And to finish off, what are we going to do with our crimp beads? Well, of course, we have to go ahead and crimp them. So grabbing your crimping tool, make sure to crimp it nice and well. If you need to learn how to use a crimping tool, click up in this top left hand corner and it'll lead you to a video that explains it nicely. Now here's our headband, but it's not all the way around. So what do we have to do? We have to attach some elastic between the 2 rings. Here I'm showing you what I did with my blue headband from my previous video. It's very easy. So grabbing elastic that is 12 millimeters thick, and you'll have to sew the elastic onto the elastic The amount of elastic you need will depend on your head size, so place the headband around your head and see how much elastic you need to put on. As you can see, it now becomes nice and secure so that your headband will be easy to put on and easy to take off.